afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on this Sunday afternoon on a beautiful day, even though it's a little bit cloudy. Brought to you by the Lewis Sports Network. Back again with another live stream, back with yet another video. And in this video, ladies and gentlemen, I've been putting off of this video for just about over a month, but I finally got the opportunity to do it. This is baseball. Now we are talking about, this is baseball. We are doing the 1998 season, one of my favorite seasons in baseball history. So again, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, I want you guys to always do the things that we always talk about. As you guys come in, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys share this on Reddit. Make sure your notifications are turned on, and make sure you guys share the videos. Truly appreciate it. And like I always say, man, there's my Cash App. If you would like to donate and help support the channel, you don't have to, but obviously, if you would like to, I definitely truly appreciate it. So you guys know about my channel. I try to cover the sports that I know and truly love. I primarily do basketball content. With football, I try to do football games. Any little bit of news that I try to do, I will let you guys know. Obviously, on top of that, I'm doing baseball. As you guys know, I'm an avid baseball fan, and I'm a fan of the New York Yankees. Make sure later tonight, for my basketball fans, we will be doing the Last Dance documentary featuring Kobe Bryant and the Dream Team parts 5 and 6. That will be 9 o'clock Eastern time. Make sure you guys pull up for that. And again, man, smash the like, hit the subscribe. This is how I do, man, the Lewis Sports Network. I also do wrestling, obviously, with the WWE and AEW. This coming May 9th, I will be going live for UFC. I will be going live for UFC, and I also will go live for Money in the Bank next Sunday, WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So I got a lot of stuff coming up, and make sure you guys get excited. So shout out to Ryan, man. First one in the building. He says, "What's good, Lewis?" What's good, Ryan? No, usually you're here for the basketball, but don't appreciate it. I don't know if you are a baseball fan, but I definitely had to do this video. I had to do it. I actually have another video coming up when it comes to baseball, talking about Alex Cora and his suspension from the Boston Red Sox. So I definitely wanted to do this just for my fans, baseball fans. I definitely, like I said, appreciate it. So I wanted to talk about the 1998 season and why it's so special. And it's a connection with baseball and why I feel that the steroid era, in my opinion, it's controversial because of the fact that the guys that competed and pretty much were in their prime in this era are getting a lot of backlash for coming. Hold on. Shout out to Joel. He says, "What up? I'll be right back, guys. Give me one second. I will be right back." My apologies, ladies and gentlemen, man. My apologies, man. I'm back. I just wanted to talk about the 1998 season. Sorry that I just had to do something really quick, but I am back now. And the Yankees are near and dear to my heart. Favorite baseball team, but there were a lot of players that I got to see growing up, while I was watching baseball. I got to see Ken Griffey Jr., got to see Cal Ripken Jr., Mike Piazza. You're talking about Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome, Kenny Lofton, Paul O'Neill. We're talking about obviously Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, Nomar Garcia Parra. Obviously, the two gentlemen right here that were pretty much the talk of baseball throughout 1998. Here's what's crazy about them: they were the talk of. Let me go to the comments. And Ryan says, All I know is Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and Hernandez. I hope is one, and then J Lo's husband. Oh, obviously Alex Rodriguez that we're talking about. But there were a lot of great players that I had a lot of respect for. This is why the 1998 season is near and dear to my heart. It's because the Yankees, shout out to both of you guys. Shout out to Joel and shout out to Ryan. But what's near and dear to my heart, you could kind of call him King Griffey in a sense, though. You could. You could call him King Griffey. That's what made him so. I mean, they don't call him the say hey kid for nothing. And again, man, smash the like button, hit that subscribe. I would want to think that baseball would come back. They're looking to start June. That's the latest update for baseball. They were thinking of doing baseball in empty ballparks. But again, like I said, I just don't think that a sports arena has an impact that it does without the fans in the game. So like I said, but going back to the 98 season, so obviously my team growing up is from the Yankees. I'm a New York person. And what's special about the Yankees is that they won 114 games that year. And they ended up winning the postseason, going 125-50 because they went 11-2 in the postseason. And I remember we had the most dominant season in baseball history. But when you look at our roster, it wasn't like we had very good players, but we weren't looked at as a juggernaut. We became the juggernaut because we just happened to win. We had great chemistry. We played so well. We had great pitching. But it's these two gentlemen right here. We're talking about a man from the Dominican Republic and Sammy Sosa. And then obviously you got Mark McGwire here from the States. What's so special about these guys is despite the fact that the Yankees were dominating in terms of being the best team, we had two guys in baseball who went back and forth, breaking Roger Maris's record of 61 home runs, which Roger Maris broke in a Yankee uniform in 1961, when Babe Ruth had the baseball record for most home runs in a season with 60 at the time. And these guys, it's funny because McGwire got off to a crazy hot start and Sammy got off to a very slow start. And actually, there were players like Vinny Castilla. For those who know Vinny Castilla, who played for the Colorado Rockies, it was between those guys early. They were the ones that were trailing Mark McGwire and kind of keeping pace with him. But then June hit, and then Sammy Sosa, I believe, hit at the time a major league record 20 home runs in a month, right? Yeah, obviously we got to also remember Jackie Robinson. That's right. I mean, Jackie Robinson Day. It stinks because Jackie Robinson Day was April 15th, but because of what's been going on with us, baseball didn't even get to celebrate and commemorate his day, obviously. So that's a shame. But like I said, guys, this is very near and dear special to my heart because they made the game so much fun at a time when baseball's ratings were going down. And if people remember, the 94 strike in baseball caused the season to get canceled. And there were a lot of historic things going on during that season. I remember Tony Gwynn, the great Tony Gwynn, God rest his soul. He was hitting 394 I think about early to mid-August. Ken Griffey Jr., I believe, had around 43 home runs. So he was threatening for like about 50 plus. Like there was a lot of things going on in baseball. And, I would have loved to seen Tony Gwynn be able to hit 400. I mean, he would have been the first player in the modern era to hit 400 because Ted Williams was the last player to hit 400, and he did it in a Boston Red Sox uniform, Hall of Famer Ted Williams. So, yeah, if you want to ask me about my baseball, I mean, I know players like Billy Williams, Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub, Ferguson Jenkins, Bob Gibson, Willie Stargell, Steve Garvey, Ron Newcomb, Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson, Denny McLain, Bert Fitch, Ron Guidry, Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, Don Sutton. I mean, Cy Young, obviously, Warren Spahn, Eddie Matthews, Jimmy Fox. What was the golden era of baseball? A lot of people, well, it's crazy. Let's see. I'm a late 80s baby, so I grew up in the 90s. I feel like that the 90s was probably a golden era for baseball for me, but then you could probably make a case that probably the 60s and 70s, you would probably say to yourself from the 50s, I would say from the 50s to about maybe the 50s and 60s probably had the best collection. Maybe 50s, 60s, and then 70s. That was probably the golden era of baseball because there were a lot of great players that ended up, being in the Hall of Fame. I would say. I would say that era was, crazy. And then you get players like Barry Bonds, obviously, you know, Jason Giambi. There's a lot of players that I know, love, and remember. But what's special about these two was as soon as Sammy hit the 20 home runs in June, Sammy was at 33 for the season, right? And because Sammy was at 33 for the season, then he had begun to, pretty much catch up with McGwire, and they became the talk of baseball. Now, I think Barry Bonds had a pretty good 1998 season, but I think what happened was, I think what caused him to kind of juice up, as people kind of been saying, I mean, look, Barry Bonds is a career 298 hitter. Look, Barry was only 65 hits away from 3,000. He finished with 2,935 hits for his career. Career on base percentage of 444, slugging percentage of 607, OPS of. So OPS basically means your slugging percentage combined with your on base percentage. For those who don't know that, look, he had 514 stolen bases. It tells you Barry Bonds could do it all. He had 10 gold. I think it was 8 Gold Gloves as a left fielder. 2,227 runs scored, 1,996 RBIs. So not only he was close to threatening to 2,000 career RBIs, and in my eyes, he was arguably the greatest hitter that I've ever seen. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. He can run, field, throw. Barry Bonds was your five. He was your 5-tool player. And it's sad with the way that his career has gone because of the fact that he's linked, to PEDs, and the fact that he's not going into the Hall of Fame. And what I would say is that with the career that Barry Bonds had, I'm sorry and I hate to say this, but Barry Bonds to me was the best player in the game. And there were a lot of great players in the game, don't get me wrong. A lot of great players in the game, but Barry Bonds, before the juice, the man was hitting what was it? He had already getting close to 500 home runs. Like I told you, he was a beast. But I think, in my opinion, he might have gotten jealous of the attention that McGwire and Sosa were getting with the home run chase, because Sammy ended that season with 66 home runs, and he went 5 beyond Roger Maris, because Roger Maris did his 61, and then Mark McGwire ended up hitting, 70? He hit 70. Because when you look at Barry Bonds in 98, oh wow, no, not even. In 98, he hit. So in 98, he hit 37 home runs, and he played 156 games that season. And he drove in 122 RBIs. But Barry Bonds was special player. The most hits that Barry actually ever had in a season. But the thing is, the reason that Barry didn't have probably like as many hits is because they would walk him a lot. They would walk him a lot because of his power. Because teams were threatened by his power, managers would intentionally walk Barry Bonds. It's a reason why his on-base percentage was so high. And on top of that, Barry Bonds did not strike out a lot. So if you look at Barry's career, Barry, the most strikeouts he had in a season was his rookie season with 102. Barry Bonds did not average, and the lowest amount of strikeouts he had in a season was 43, and that was in the 94 season, like I told you guys during the lockout. So Barry never had a 200 hit season, but I think he would have had a couple of those had he not been walked so much. That's the type of respect and fear that pitchers had with Barry, and that's why managers would always put him to walk. Shout out to Tomoko, 7th like. I will check out your channel later on. I didn't get the notification of your new video, but I will make sure. I am subscribed to you, but I just didn't get the notification. Ryan says, I remember Maguire was in the front news about roids. He was. But what I'm upset about is that these guys are getting so much blame for being in the front when this is something that baseball allowed. I feel like baseball kind of covered up for what they were doing. And it's a shame that a lot of these players who were doing things that was legal at the time are getting punished for it. And then even with their own organizations, it's kind of like they don't want you back unless you apologize. But it's like, you guys knew about this too. So the fact that these guys are getting blamed for something that the organizations even knew about because they wanted money, and especially it would do great for the attendance. I look at least for the 98 season, I look at Maguire and Sosa as the Larry Bird and Magic of baseball. They saved the game. If it wasn't for these two guys in the home run chase and the excitement they created, not just for St. Louis baseball, not just for Chicago Cubs baseball, but for baseball in general, what they did for the game of baseball, baseball should be indebted to these two men. Say what you want about Maguire, say what you want about Sosa. Say what you want about those guys, but they help bring the game back. And it's a shame that they're getting I mean, then you look at a guy like Barry Bonds, and then you look at a guy like Roger Clemens, because if you look at Barry Bonds' stats, they went crazy up. The 2000 season, he had 49 home runs. Then in 2001, he has that historic 73 home run season. Then on top of that, and it's like, if you look at Barry, the transformation, Barry was huge in 2000. Right now, Barry's very skinny right now. And the thing with Barry Bonds is that I know he wasn't liked as a teammate, and I also know that Barry Bonds was not liked by the media because of the way that he used to talk to them. But I know that he had very few friends around the game. But I think the bottom line is, to Mr. Barry Lamar Bonds, you cannot take away what the man accomplished in his career. And even if you take away his steroid numbers, Barry Bonds is still a Hall of Famer regardless. But there's just voters in the media that vote for the Hall of Fame that will not put him in because, again, there's bias. But Barry Bonds should be in. Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer. I don't care what anybody says. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Mark Maguire should be in the Hall of Fame, and Sammy Sosa should be in the Hall of Fame. Now, Champ Ross, Bonds hit, shout out to Champ Ross. He says Bonds hit 73 home runs with 177 walks. Yeah, and it was the fear that he put in pitchers. It was and then with the season that Barry Bonds had, if you look at the rest of his career, it's a reason why his walks were even numerous. And I told you, Barry Bonds could have had a couple of 200 hit seasons. It's just the problem is, because of the fact that he was walked a lot, he didn't get hit. And for him to still be able in 18 years to get 2,935 hits, this dude was still 65 hits away from 3,000, and he was 4 RBIs away from 2,000, and he scored over 2,200 runs. That's crazy. That's crazy. Which is why, whatever you want to say about Sammy Sosa, Mark Maguire, I respect those guys so much. I respect them so much. I don't care what anybody says. I appreciate these guys at the end of the day because they made me appreciate the game even more. And I got into baseball probably around, it depends, but at that time. But shout out to Sly Zulu, was good. Ryan says, did the league penalize their numbers because of the roids? They did. The league did do that. There's been a lot of players. I don't know if you guys remember Rafael Palmeiro. Shout out to Sly. He says, I followed you on Twitter. That's what's up, bro. Thank you. Make sure to share the videos on my on the Twitter too. I have a couple of videos. I think I put the Kobe LeBron James video on Twitter. If I didn't, just put the link in your channel. So just do that. Bonds has had more intentional walks than all of the teams put together in 3 to 4 seasons. And I think, Champ, what you're talking about, I think it was that period, I believe, from 2000 to 2004. I believe he had more intentional walks than anybody. If not, it might have been earlier. So, but that's why Barry's on-base percentage was so high. So smash the like, hit the subscribe, share the videos. Make sure to share them on Reddit. We got 3 people watching. We got 7 likes. But I've been putting this video apart. But I definitely wanted to do a video on these 2 gentlemen right here because I think it's unfair that they help save the game, but they're getting disrespected by not only the media, but baseball in itself. Baseball is acting a curtain to a blind's eye. Like, if they had nothing to do with the decisions that these men made, yeah, they made their choices, but I know that these guys knew. I know that they knew. So for them to say that is honestly ridiculous. I'm not going to spend too much time on this stream. I just wanted to do a quick one just to, appreciate these guys. We'll be doing some future baseball content, obviously, but, I really hope that the season gets started because I want to do some live stream games of baseball. Like I said, I'm a fan of the game. In my opinion, Mike Trout is the best player in the game right now. I just heard that Albert Pujols is trying to play beyond the 2021 season. I just think it's crazy because I think that Pujols has nothing to prove. He's had a Hall of Fame career. I felt like Pujols ruined his career from the minute he left St. Louis, and I know he was trying to get more money. Champ Ross says Sosa and McGwire saved baseball for sure, but Bonds and Griffey were the real stars that took the game to another level. I agree with you. I agree. I mean, I remember when I don't know, Champ Ross, if you remember, but I don't know if you remember, but I remember when I had the Nintendo 64 and I think it was Ken Griffey was featured on the cover. I think it was All-Star. Was it All-Star Baseball? I'm trying to figure out. Let me just look it up because I remember I had this game for Nintendo 64. Let me just type in. Let me see, Ken Griffey video game. Let me type that in. So there was Ken Griffey presents Major. Oh, it was Ken Griffey presents Major League Baseball. I remember that now. And then he was also on. Oh, that was on Super Nintendo. But what was the game on? What was the game on Nintendo 64? Let me see. Nintendo 64. What game was it? It was. Oh, okay, it was Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. Oh my God, that game was so much fun to play. That game was so much fun to play. It was unbelievable. One of my favorite games ever. It just showed, yeah, it was on 64. Ken Griffey Jr. winning run, I think it was. It was actually Major League Baseball with Ken Griffey Jr. That's what it was. Lofton was my first MLB star. I love Kenny Lofton. One of the best leadoff hitters of his time, man. Kenny Lofton was one of my guys growing up. I love Kenny Lofton. What I loved about Kenny Lofton was his enthusiasm for the game. He was always very loose. One of the best table setters to ever play this game. Doesn't get enough credit, Kenny Lofton. Playing in the steroid era, mind you, too. I grew up a Sosa fan as a kid, became a Cardinal as a preteen. All right, cool. My dad was a huge Sammy Sosa fan because Sammy Sosa is from the Dominican Republic, and I am of Dominican descent. But I was also a fan of Mark McGwire, and Mark McGwire to me looked and I remember him with the Oakland A's. It's funny, he was with those powerhouse A's teams that had Jose Canseco, Ricky Henderson, Terry Steinbach, great Oakland teams that should have won more championships. They only won that. For me, the 88 to the 92 Oakland A's, I feel like they should have three-peated or at least won 2 championships in like a 3-year span, but they only won 1 World Series. I felt that the 88 A's was their best team, but they got upset by the Dodgers in the World Series in 5 games. But the Oakland A's should have won. They should have three-peated like the 70 A's from 72 to 74. The teams that had Reggie Jackson and Catfish Hunter on there. See, I told you, man. I told you, man. I know my baseball, man. Facts. And Champ says, yeah, I remember that game. Ken Griffey, I think, on 64. So like I said, guys, man, Kenny, like I said, Lofton played college hoops at Arizona. He was a great athlete all around. That's true. Yeah, he is from Arizona. But there's a lot of I definitely want to do Major League Baseball trivia. I also want to do an MLB Jeopardy. For those who are fans of the game of baseball, I definitely want to rekindle baseball memories. I feel like that the late 90s was it for me as a kid. There were a lot of great stars in the game. I'm so mad that Ken Griffey never really got to he had too many injuries because it's crazy for Ken to hit as many home runs as he did, considering that he missed a lot of games due to injury. And Ken Griffey was still able to pile up 2,500 hits. And this is for somebody who's primarily known as a power hitter, but he can hit for average too. And Ken Griffey, it's a shame because in the Ryan says, do all baseball teams have mascots? No. The New York Yankees don't I believe the Yankees are the only team in baseball that don't have a mascot. To this day, the Yankees don't have a mascot. The Mets do. Obviously, everybody knows Mr. Met, but the Yankees are the only team in baseball that don't have a mascot. I could be wrong about that, but I know for sure that the Yankees, as far as I know, I think every team has a mascot. But I don't think the Yankees, I know for the longest time, they've never had a mascot. At least on the field. And then what I was doing, actually, ladies and gentlemen, before I came on this stream, I've been watching classic Yankee championship seasons. I've been watching, looking at classic. I'm looking at Roger Clemens right now, who was on both the 99 and 2000 team. Another player who's kind of connected to Barry Bonds in the terms of he was not liked by the media. Roger had his moments of where he had a big ego, but the guy was a great pitcher. The only reason that he gets also hit on hard is because of the fact that if you look at Roger Clemens' ERA late in his career, he has some of the best numbers in history. Shout out to Mays, man. He says we still ain't got a baseball team in Indiana. I mean, part of the reason is because it's a basketball town. So I'm guessing that's why they don't. And if you look at Indiana, they're known for just their tradition. Their tradition is basketball. Obviously, they do have a football team. I am a little surprised that they never put a baseball team, but I guess it's really just mostly about basketball and football in Indiana. But that's just what I think. I don't know for sure, but that's just probably what I'm probably taking as a guess. So we got 9 people watching. We got 9 likes. Again, smash the like and hit the subscribe button. If you're closing the stream soon, can you come to my channel after you close the stream? I definitely will go to your channel. And remember, I am subscribed to your Artemis channel. So just to let you know, I probably am going to be here for like an hour. So just letting everybody know. So again, guys, keep smashing that like, keep hitting that subscribe button for the Lewis Sports Network. It's a basketball town, but I play baseball and basketball. Oh, okay, cool. Let me ask you this, Maze. Who is your favorite? Do you have a favorite baseball team? If you are into baseball, or do you just play for fun? Barry Bonds was that guy, man. I wish New Orleans had a MLB team. Ryan says, who's the dude that was running in the group that was celebrating at home plate and ended up breaking his foot? I think I know who you're talking about. I'm just trying to remember who it was. I think it was Kendrys Morales, I believe, that ended up breaking his foot. I believe it was him. No doubt. Yeah. So I did that a long time ago. I think that they could add a bunch of MLB teams. I think it just depends on the market and how they can sell baseball in those towns. Oh, so you're a Cubs fan. All right, cool. North side of Chicago. Shout out to Freddie Gee. He says, yo, Mr. Versatile. Shout out to Freddie Gee. Appreciate you, man. And I know, Freddie, I don't know if you're a baseball guy, but I know down there in Atlanta, you got your Atlanta Braves down there. It's funny. I thought the Braves and the Yankees were the 2 best teams in the 1990s. I know the Braves won more games than any team in the 1990s, and they went to the World Series 5 times, but they only won 1 championship. So in a sense, they were kind of like the Buffalo Bills of baseball, in a sense. Kendrys Morales, that's what it was. I remember he broke his leg when he landed. And people were trying to figure out, like, why was he on the ground? But I think playing baseball is fun, but watching it gives me anxiety. The thing with baseball, and this is kind of what hurts baseball, in the fact that baseball, you kind of have to wait for things to happen just because it's a pitcher on the mound. You have to wait for a hit to happen. You have to wait for a play to happen. If a double play can happen, somebody makes a spectacular catch, like if the ball is about to go over the wall for a home run. If you make a diving catch, if you get a runner thrown out at one of the bases, whether first, second, third, or at home plate, the triple play. But it's like all of those things happen on instinct as soon as the bat is hit off the ball. So that's the kind of things that you kind of wait. I mean, to be honest with you, when it's time to be in clutch, I think clutch moments for me get me pumped up, but it makes me the most anxious because you want your team to win, and I can't tell you the faces that people make in a loss in a playoff game. I still remember watching the 2006 National League Championship Series between the Mets and the Cardinals. I cannot tell you the faces of Mets fans after Carlos Beltran struck on that breaking ball by Adam Wainwright in Game 7. Ninth inning with 2 outs, and I believe there was a runner on base, and the score was 3-1. I remember he struck out on that breaking ball on the outside corner, and Carlos Beltran was trying to take the entire time. And I'm like, Carlos, if it's in the zone, take a swing, bro. It's Game 7, 2 outs. What have you got to lose, bro? But he didn't do it, and I remember the Mets, Mets fans look like they just seen a ghost when they lost that series. And the funny thing was the Mets trailed that series 3-1. The Mets trailed that series 3-1. And then the Mets in back-to-back seasons, they blew a division lead in September, and they ended up missing the playoffs on the last day of the season, back-to-back years. And I said to myself that the Mets were not going to be good for a while. And it didn't happen until 2015 when they made the World Series. And I'm like, okay. And then I feel like the Mets are always having one of these like wondrous seasons. I feel like the 69 Mets were the miracle Mets. And I kind of compare the 2015 team to that with the way they went to the World Series. But I'm telling you, that 86 Mets, one of the best teams in baseball history. You had young Darryl Strawberry before he was screwing himself up with the drugs. Obviously, you got Dwight Gooden, who could have been a Hall of Fame pitcher had he not screwed himself up with the drugs. You had Keith Hernandez at first base. You had Ray Knight. You had, rest his soul, Hall of Famer Gary Carter, one of the greatest catchers in baseball history, bro. May says you play third base and pitcher? Nice. Yo, third baseman is the hot corner. Like a lot of pitches get hit over there. Line drives, especially when it's especially when you have to when dealing with right-handed hitters. That ball is always hitting around the third base side, especially when they pull the ball. Freddie D says, I'm not a big baseball fan, but I learned to appreciate the difficulty of it after trying to play it after school with the homies. Yeah, man, listen, when it comes to football, hockey, basketball, and baseball, out of all 4 major sports, I mean, you could probably say golf in a sense, but the hardest thing to do is hit a Major League Baseball. It's hard. It's hard because you have to look at the different speeds that pitchers throw, because they can either throw really fast or really slow. The key thing with you as a hitter is you have to be able to time the pitch. You also have to require the style of hitting. You have to be able to, if you're like a great hitter, you can pretty much hit to all fields. You have to be able to adjust to where the pitch is thrown to. Like, you go with the pitch. Scouting reports are like, no, you can't. You want to throw him high up. You want to elevate the pitch because he can't catch up to high pitches up in the zone, or you don't want to throw to him away. So you want to pitch him more inside because he can't catch up to those pitches. So his swing is not quick enough. So things like that, man. Folks sleep on the Rockies, man. I always like them on the low. I mean, the Rockies. So if you guys know, shout out to Larry Walker. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. And I remember the great player that Todd Helton was. For people who don't know Todd Helton has numbers that are good enough for him to get into the Hall of Fame. But they were holding against him in the fact that he played most of his career as a Colorado Rocky in a hitter's ballpark, and that he was not able to hit anywhere else. So, but Larry Walker was finally able to get in. He played on teams like the Cardinals. He played with the Montreal Expos. That's actually where Larry Walker actually got it, because Larry Walker is Canadian. He rocked a real nice SpongeBob shirt that I want to get my hands on if I ever am able to find it. And I was like, I didn't even know Larry Walker was into SpongeBob. But it looked so cool on him, and he got to be inducted with Derek Jeter, who, for those who know Derek Jeter is my guy. Derek Jeter wasn't the best athlete, but what I appreciated about Derek was his respect for the game. One of the greatest hitters in Major League history. You look at him, you don't look at him as a typical 5 tool player. But the man had an amazing 19-year career. He did it in the Bronx, was able to win 5 world championships, World Series MVP in 2000, All-Star MVP in 2000, 5 Gold Gloves. He has 4 Silver Sluggers, 3,465 hits, which is 6th all-time in baseball history. I mean, Jeter almost threatened the top 5. So Jeter turned into a player who looked like wasn't even going to be a Hall of Famer. But the funny thing is, when he got drafted in '92 by the Yankees and he was the 6th overall pick, it's funny, the Cincinnati Reds passed up on Jeter because they could have had him. But it just shows you he didn't do too well. I think in his first year I think it was in Single A. Jeter had a tough time adjusting because he grew up in Michigan. He's from Pequannock, New Jersey, but he grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. He had a tough time being away from home. And unfortunately for Jeter, he had a tough time being away from his parents. But I think the key thing was the fact that he was able to talk to them consistently. He was able to adjust and be able to feel at ease knowing that he'd be able to hear from them. That's the respect that Jeter has for his parents. And I know about his father, who was from the military, and he is a doctor, Dr. Charles Jeter. So salute to you. You and your wife, Dot Jeter, raised an incredible son. What hurts baseball is when you see a ball fly and the player goes to catch it, but a fan snatches it. Then there's that. Or when a batter thinks he's got a home run and the fielder ends up getting the ball just when it's about to leave the park. And especially it can take away the momentum in a ball game. Oddly, I grew up playing a lot of baseball video games, for real. I swear it's 60-40 skill and luck, man, because I don't see how they can see a ball coming that fast from that far. It's true, but it takes a lot of practice. And I think the thing is with scouting reports, they kind of help, especially with the way that it's difficult to see a pitch that far. There's a lot of film that goes into it, but the thing is it also goes with batting practice, because batting practice does help with muscle memory. So, but like I said, with the scouting reports, it's like, what does this pitcher like to do? And how are you going to figure out? And as always, though, I agree with you, Freddie, because it's kind of difficult to kind of pick up a ball. But like I said, it depends on how the pitcher changes speeds. If they're throwing something really slow and you can't react to it, or you can't pick up the timing of the ball, that's what makes it difficult to see, especially also when you just try to throw high heat. But the thing is, there's also players, when you do scouting reports on them, it's like, oh, they're very good at hitting the fastball. Okay, they're good at hitting the breaking ball out over the plate. They are very good at hitting the slider. Where do they like the slider? Down and in. Because I know for most left-handed hitters, they love the ball low and inside. That's their wheelhouse for left-handed hitters. They love hitting in that area. But some players are very rare when it comes to how they hit, especially if they're either a lefty, a righty, or they're a switch hitter. Champ Ross says, that Expos team in '94 was one of the best that we never seen what they can do with the strike. What a shame. That's facts. That's facts. It's funny because they were supposed to be on a collision course with the New York Yankees in '94. People were, with the way the season was going, Paul O'Neill hit 359 that year. I believe that team, I think Felipe Alou was the manager of those Expos, and they had Moises Alou, who was on that team. Larry Walker was on that team at that point. Sly says, my pops loves Jeter, man. He's been a Yankee fan all his life. I can't tell him nothing with that old NY hat. Yo, that's like my dad. That's like my dad. My dad was more of an Alex Rodriguez fan when he was in Seattle. I thought A-Rod's best years were with Seattle and with Texas. But I know he did have a couple of MVP seasons for us here in Pinstripes. I was just happy for A-Rod that he finally got to deliver in the postseason for the Yankees. Because the funny thing is, A-Rod actually had good postseason numbers before he joined New York. But I just felt like instead of hearing Alex, he became A-Rod, and there was that issue. So yeah, guys. He says I played a couple of softball games with a base team the last summer. I was so trash at fielding, but I could hit pretty good for a casual. Fun as hell. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of fun when you get to try these things out. Play baseball. Skill and mental game is mostly what baseball is all about. Agreed. Agreed. I mean, you gotta have skills to play this game. Do you think that you can do a perfect first pitch? What's the key to do it? The key for a perfect first pitch for me has to be, number one, you have to be able to locate the ball. Secondly, what pitch do you want to throw? So you have to figure out what pitch you want to throw. And remember that for a pitcher, you have to understand the pitches. So whatever your best pitch is, obviously you have to have a good grip on the ball. But most importantly, it's a perfect first pitch is your location. If you can locate on your pitches, you can throw a perfect strike, especially if a hitter is not looking to swing on the first pitch. So with aggressive hitters, if it's an aggressive hitter, they're going to swing at anything. So the key with you is you want to change speeds. You want to throw off-speed pitches because they'll swing at anything. But with players who are much more patient, a perfect strike for the most part is usually a pitch down the middle. Usually. It doesn't matter if you could throw a slider on the outside corner, a curveball on the outside corner, fastball on the outside corner, two-seam fastball, fork ball, knuckle curve, eephus pitch. So a slurve, which is the combination of a slider with a curveball. So like I said, the changing speeds matter, and definitely your location of where you want to throw the ball at the plate. That's the key to a perfect pitch. But there's no such thing as a perfect pitch, but it'll always look perfect from, like I said. Also, it depends on the pitcher and how they throw with their arm angles. So I think that to me is what's very important when it comes to making a perfect pitch. And Freddie Gee says, Champ Ross, it seems like focus and skill to me, but I don't know much about baseball, though. Yeah, that's pretty much it, Freddie. Focus is part of the mental game. You got to really focus. I wish A-Rod had been a Red Sox. It would have made the beef even better with NY. A-Rod was supposed to be a Red Sox, but because baseball did not allow the move, because I believe it was the amount of money that the Red Sox were offering to Alex Rodriguez, and then there was a couple of violations that the Red Sox were breaking within baseball rules that they were not allowed to acquire Alex Rodriguez. I forgot what it was, but he was allowed to go to the Yankees instead. But I would have. It's crazy, and it's funny because I remember Jason Varitek, the catcher of the Red Sox, when the Red Sox came back from that 3-0 deficit. Don't remind me, on the Yankees in the ALCS. Jason Varitek in 2005 in the offseason, I believe this was before spring training. He criticized A-Rod, and I remember that those two fought each other in the summer of 2004. When the rivalry was I know the rivalry has been hot for a long time. I call it baseball's best rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox. I mean, there's a lot of other good rivalries in baseball, like the Cardinals and the Cubs. They have a good rivalry. The Mets and the Braves, they have a good rivalry. So there's a lot of good rivalries in baseball, but no rivalry in baseball beats Yankees and Red Sox. There's just none. And I love the rivalry from 2003 to 2004 because there was a lot of bad blood between both teams. And you can feel the intensity, man. I still remember that series that they came back. I mean, I remember that historic 7-game series that they had in 2003. And then the Red Sox coming back from 3-0 on the Yankees the very next year. And they were able to lift the 86-year curse, But these two gentlemen right here, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, they definitely deserve to be appreciated no matter how much baseball has hated on these guys, especially with what fans have said about these guys, telling how much they looked up to them and how they know to cheat. The real people that we need to blame, ladies and gentlemen, is the game of baseball. Baseball is the reason why these two get the hate that they do when they should be appreciated, because they are the ones that put the butts in the seats in the stands. If it wasn't for these guys, baseball would never be the same. People forget about, look at that sweet swing right there by Mark McGwire right there. A couple of my friends growing up played in the minor leagues but never made it to the big show. And that's another thing that that stinks of being a minor league player. The fact that if people don't feel that you're talented enough to get the call, you know? So I mean, I've known people for years who have played in the minors, and there's a current family member of mine who used to be in the minor leagues, and he used to play from my mom's side of the family. He ended up being a scout, but for a long time that he used to play. But gotcha. I thought you meant strategic. I see it's more to baseball than the eye. I see the infield and the outfield shifts for different batters' tendencies. Exactly. Yeah. People tend to put shifts for power hitters. They put shifts a lot for power hitters. So with power hitters, what power hitters should do when they shift, because they're home run threats, is they should always try to put the ball in play and actually put it the other way. Because a lot of times when you look at some of the shifts, you'll see third baseman go to the shortstop, and then you'll have the shortstop and the second baseman pretty much in closer with each other, because power hitters like to pull the ball, especially left-handed hitters who are hitting to the right side of the field. That's why they do these shifts. Or they'll play, also, if you look at the outfielders, they'll play so far back. Or when there's runners on base and you have and you fear the bunt, the fielders like to play in. They bring the infield in so that in case of a ball is hit hard, they can react to it much quickly. And they also try to play for the bunt. And sometimes you'll see infielders, they'll sneak themselves in, or they'll take a couple of steps in, anticipating that the hitter is going to bunt the baseball. I can't stand umpires though. And the coaches with the signs be killing me. Oh yeah. Do you close your eyes when celebs try to pitch and miss terribly? Some. I remember Dirk Nowitzki when he came to a game at Texas, and he threw a very bad pitch. Third base coach signs, yeah, they be killing me, bro. Even when the umpire, when the managers be doing it in the dugout, I couldn't keep a straight face as the coach is doing all those signs, and I didn't understand. It's true. It's funny because they be putting all those signs like just to be like, oh yeah, that's a bunt sign, and I'm like, all of that just a bunt? Like, that's crazy. I'm like, are you praying? Like, it's crazy, man. Champ Ross is laughing. He says, look at them forearms. Oh, Bob McGwire. Yo, for real, man. For real. And they go Sammy. Every time he hit a home run, man, he would just do his little famous pose right there. You know what I'm saying? So there's Sammy. Excuse me. All right, so Freddie, he's got a question. So what do you think about the Astros stealing signs? I feel like baseball is so hard that stealing signs doesn't even matter. The thing with the Houston Astros is that they had a lot of people, not only some of the players, they had mics in their jerseys, and people in the office would let them know in terms of what pitch was coming. So they would either lay off, or if they were good hitters to hit that pitch, they would swing for it. So not only was there stealing signs, but they were telling the Astros on what to hit and what not to hit. And like Champ Ross says, they were banging trash cans. And he says, that's got to be code for something. Yeah. Yeah, for example, if they banged the trash can, it was off-speed pitch coming. No bang, then fastball was coming. Exactly. They would even do things like that, man. Like, okay, they took cheating to a whole new level. Facts. Champ says, remember when Sammy got caught with that cork bat? Oh, my God. I still remember that to this day. And I think Sammy hit a ground ball to the pitcher, and that's when that cork bat flew. I knew his career was never going to be the same once he got caught with that. I knew. But like I said, Sammy should not be getting blamed for what baseball was covering up. That's what gets me mad. And people love players like Ken Griffey Jr. because he has such a natural swing. And I appreciate Ken Griffey because Ken Griffey was one of the greatest players I've ever seen. Did y'all know that Michael Jordan, MJ, he was a fan of Ken Griffey Jr. and he actually wanted him to autograph his bat. But Ken Griffey said, not until you autograph my jersey. That's how much of a fan Mike was, obviously, of baseball. I remember Sammy's face, bro. It's crazy. What if the player had to blow his nose and his teammate be like, oh, still first base? He gets out and says, I thought it was in the clear. I was just blowing my nose. They'll make any excuse to try to say that they weren't stealing signs, man. That's what's crazy about these dudes. And Champ Raw says, yeah, Sammy's face was priceless. I mean, it's facts. Like all the players knew already. It's true. Everybody knows. The players are trying to cover themselves up like they don't know about it, but the players know about what these players were using, whether it's a cork bat, whether it's pine tar, whether it's some kind of substance that pitchers were using to try to get more an advantage with their pitching. Sly says that 50 Cent throw. He said you got the 50 Cent throw, man. Facts. What advantages does a cork bat present? Well, with a cork bat, you can hit. I remember Sammy hit a home run that should be a fly ball in most places. Like Sammy was hitting fly balls for home runs. Like when it comes to the cork. And also the advantage of having a cork bat is that the bat doesn't break. So that was the advantage of a cork bat. Dudes were hitting light. They were hitting home runs when they should be fly balls in most situations. And like I said, the bat doesn't break. He said it was the worst throw of all time, right? And so. But like I said, man, what people want to feel about these two players, they did a lot for the game, and they shouldn't get penalized for that. They really shouldn't. It just lets you know. And like I said, my man Sammy Sosa wore number 21. I remember my dad had that Cubs jersey of Sammy. Sammy Sosa was his guy. And I remember Sammy Sosa, I believe, had 5 or 6 straight seasons of 60. I think it was 5 straight seasons he had 60 home runs, man. And then Mark McGwire, I think, following his 70 home run season in 1998, he came back and hit 65 home runs the very next year for St. Louis. And the thing is, they drew such a large crowd everywhere they went because fans were expecting Sammy Sosa. They were expecting Mark McGwire to hit home runs. They were expecting it. Sammy was using the cork bat, black bat. He used it in the Milwaukee Home Run Derby too. I remember that. That was in 2002, I believe, in Miller Park, right, Champ? I think that was in 2002 in Miller Park. Because I think I saw the interview with Jason Giambi, and he was raving about how Sammy Sosa was just such a fun guy to watch hit, and especially when it came to hitting home runs. Like he was just a lot. He was so fun to watch. But these are the greats of the greats, you know. I want to find a picture of Ken Griffey because I want to give him a spotlight in here, man, because that's how special. That's how much the respect that I got from my man K Griff. K Griff is like one of a kind when it comes to baseball. One of the cleanest, purest swings ever in the history of baseball. It was Major League Baseball with Ken Griffey Jr. I remember me and my brother used to play that game. Choosing the teams we got to, choosing the teams we got to choose. A lot of fun. And Ken Griffey was so cool with the hat back and seeing him swing at like all these in the home run derby. Like it was so cool to watch. And I just want to put a picture of Ken Griffey in here. And he says, yep, it was Miller Park. Okay, got it. Let me just put a shot of Ken Griffey because I want to get a shot of him in here. Let me see if that works. So these two gentlemen, there he is. There's the Say Hey Kid. Let me get another shot if I could put him on there. Hope it doesn't decrease the, yeah, it kind of did, but there's Ken Griffey, and I mean, great center fielder. What was it? I think he won 10 Gold Gloves at center field. Uh, just a beautiful, beautiful, sweet swing. I mean, Hall of Famer. I mean, I think he retired. I believe he retired in 2010. Was it 2010 or 2012? I think it was one of those 2 years. And I still remember the time that him and his father hit a home 1990. I think 1990. You know, let me see if this picture gives a better. Well, not quite, but you know. But like I said, there's Ken, and special men at the end of the day. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Lewis again. Make sure we've gotten people to smash that like and that subscribe. We have 12 people. Ryan says that the real Kang, not that princess. Look, oh boy. Griffey versus McGwire home run derby at Fenway Park was an all-time classic. Balls were disappearing in the night. No joke. Facts. 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 Some of these pictures are hard to find on YouTube, man, when it comes to trying to find like, and the thing is, because a lot of YouTube videos have kind of like used these pictures already. But there it is. They also had Ken Griffey Slugfest. Damn, man. Ken Griffey was I really miss Nintendo 64. I really wish I would have had that. I would have loved to. Wow, there's Ken Griffey Sr. and there's young Ken Griff Jr. Oh, he had a brother. Okay. And there's his mom. Oh, that's the Super Nintendo version. Ken Griffey Presents Major League Baseball. Damn, and Ken Griffey wasn't even a big media guy, but it was like, yo, he was featured. It's too bad he didn't win a championship. I was really wishing that Ken Griffey would have won a World Series title. That was the only thing missing. Great session, Slugfest. That's the 64 game I was thinking of earlier. That was the other game that he was featured in. So let me just wait till this rolls into an hour. But yo, you guys. Oh, Sly says that the 2002 Angels. Oh, I remember. That was a series where they went against the Giants. That was a California battle. Nobody talks about that. It was the Battle of California. You had Anaheim and then you had San Francisco. If you look at the 89 World Series, excuse me. He says, did you play EA Sports Major League Baseball? I had Ken Griffey Jr., Major League Baseball. That game came out in, I believe, 1999. Like I said, me and my brother used to play it. I also had MVP Baseball with Albert Pujols in the front. That was 2004. And then I also had MVP Baseball 2005 with Manny Ramirez when I had Xbox. I like those games a lot because you can. What was cool is that they had the authentic swing of the player when they would hit a home run, which is cool. And then I also had baseball. I had 2K6 and I had 2K7. It was Griffey and Bo Jackson. They were the big Nike commercial guys in '90. Facts. Once again, facts. For those who don't know, people remember Deion Sanders. He was a pretty good baseball player, and he played for the Atlanta Braves in the '90s. Obviously he played. Obviously he's obviously known for his football, playing for the Cowboys, 49ers, and for the Atlanta Falcons. But I also know that Deion was a very good baseball player, and he was on that '92 Braves team that went to the World Series when they beat the Pittsburgh Pirates in 7 games. So yeah, man, when it comes to Mr. Versatile, I does this, man. The Lewis Sports Network, I does this. That's how it lets you know, man, that I'm about. This is why I said I'm gonna continue to bring that heat. I'm gonna continue to bring those flames, with the content, man. Freddie says I had 2K3 baseball. Oh, that was a good game. I didn't get it. But I I wish what sucked is that the baseball games were starting to suck when it came to 2K. They were terrible. 2K8 was bad. Like after 2K7, I felt like that the games were bad. And I think MLB stopped at 2K. I don't remember what 2K game they stopped at, but But the best game is obviously MLB The Show on PlayStation, on PS4. MLB The Show has been the best game for quite a long time. And shout out to Champ Ross who says, yeah, Dion was the truth. Bo Jackson, oh yeah, he was great with Kansas City. It's a shame because obviously I felt like Bo should have stayed as a football player. He was great playing multiple sports, but I felt like that stuff kind of really, in a sense, hurt him. It was great because I got to see Bo be able to do both as sports. I think Dion, he could have been pretty good to probably. I don't know if he would have been a Hall of Fame baseball player, but I know he was pretty good. And I know I know he loved baseball too. But obviously he's in the Hall of Fame for the great football player that he was. Like I said, you gotta love prime time, baby, prime time. Sounds like NBA 2K, man. After 2011, it sucked. In my opinion, NBA 2K11 is the greatest 2K game in basketball history. Just doing the Jordan Challenge was so much fun for 2K. People don't understand that 2K11, that was the best game I ever had when it came to basketball. And I love NBA Live in the beginning, but it had a fallout. Some people are going to have their favorite lives, but I was an NBA Live guy before 2K really started to take off with their video games. And then it was crazy because I remember I used to go to Best Buy, and when 2K6 and 2K7 would be out, I would see people getting a chance to play it. I would literally stop what I was doing, looking for whatever I was looking for in Best Buy, and literally sit and go play against an opponent. Like that. See, and this sucks because Best Buy used to do that. Like when new games would come out, they would let you try them. It sucks. Like I wish that they did that again, but they didn't do it. And it sucks. But I really used to love doing that, man. It's crazy. I used to see a lot of corporate people on 43rd Street. They would literally come out of work and they would literally go into Best Buy. They would check out the games and they literally would literally play them. And I was like, all these corporate people, I thought these guys were all about business. I'm like, nope. I saw business people buying PS4s, Xboxes, like they were into the video game stuff. And I was like, wow. And all this time, and it was like I was so tunnel vision about it because I thought that video games were only like for kids and for teenagers. Like that's how I thought about it back then. But when I saw grown-ups buying it, I was like, oh, these guys enjoy it too. And I was like, if you look at a lot of people that are online when it comes to Call of Duty and stuff like that, because look, man, I got an Xbox One. I have an Xbox One. I haven't played them in a while. I will say that I like the dunk contest in NBA Live. The creative dunks that they had, that's something that 2K really never had, which is kind of weird how 2K never really had the dunk contest. But I felt that NBA Live, if you look at, I would say I love NBA Live 2005. The creativity and the dunk contest that they had that you could do, I thought those were dope. But that was really like the only thing that I liked about NBA Live, man. And I felt like it was still too, I don't know, it felt gimmicky. Some of it was cheesy. If you look at how they made the nets in 2K, it was a hell of a lot better than they did with NBA Live. And it's like, and then when I thought in NBA Live 10, they were starting to improve the dribbling, I was like, okay, like the players are going to move more fluid now. The dribbling looks better. Still, it sucked. It sucked, man. NBA Live was always weak. My homie had MLB The Show with Pujols on the cover. I thought it's a slugfest all over again. I would get it, but I don't have a PlayStation though. Got you. Facts. 2K11 was the GOAT of all basketball games. It's facts. Willie Mays is the GOAT in my opinion. You can make a case for Willie Mays. Willie Mays, man, that dude was the truth. He could do everything. Willie Mays was a 5-tool player. That dude could do everything. I think he's one of only 5 players ever with 600 home runs and 3,000 hits. I think Willie Mays has 3,255 hits for his career. I believe that's his total mark. But Willie Mays was the truth. Dunk contest, though, man. Backwards flip dunk, 720 dunk, off the camera, 360 dunk. Yeah, I remember that, man. The Jordan Challenge was the illest feature to ever touch a basketball game. That's facts. It's facts. Sly says, my pop says it's Ricky Henderson. Yo, I love Ricky Henderson, man. Ricky Henderson was always he was like The Rock when it came to a third person. Like this dude will play and he was a first and third person on the baseball diamond. That's how I always feel like about Ricky. He always spoke in third person. But I love Ricky Henderson, man. Champ Ross, facts. I did love NBA Live 05 though. You remember Live 10, the Jesus glitch? Yeah, I remember that. There's a great website that sells all the old games and consoles. I bought the Super Nintendo NBA Jam, Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball and College Slam. Champ Ross, let me know what the website is, man. Let me know the website. I gotta check it. I have to check that out. Because I remember there was a store in Manhattan that actually have like all the old that actually had all the old games, all the old consoles. I don't know if you guys remember the Game Boy Color. I remember the very first Game Boy, but I'm saying like I was a Game Boy Color guy. So I remember I had the Atomic Purple, and the first game that I got were the Pokemon versions when the red and blue version first came out, and then they had the yellow version that came out, which was the Pikachu edition. Like, Freddie Gee says Ricky Henderson plays for the A's, right? Stole all those bases. Yeah, Ricky played for the A's. He played for the Blue Jays. He played for the Padres. He played for the Yankees. Ricky Henderson does hold the record for most times getting caught. The thing is, though, Ricky was actually deceptively fast. The key thing for Ricky was he had strong legs. He did get lead on pitchers, and he was somebody who took chances. But he says Google Lukey games. Okay. He says they sell everything. Wow. Yo, if I ever to get my hands on a Nintendo 64 again or a Dreamcast, that will bring back memories, like with the games that they had. Yo, thank you for that, Champ Ross. I appreciate it. Lukey games, huh? Do you know where they're located? What state are they in? Did you buy your games online though? Like the consoles that you pretty much order from them? I hate when you rebound the ball, and try to outlet pass, but it intentionally makes you foul. Yeah, I know. That's true. Freddie Gee says, I just got an N64 4 years ago, and I still haven't set it up. I got Mario Kart and Star Fox. Yo, I used to love playing Mario Kart. Bro, I used to love playing Mario Kart on the N64. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was special, man. It brings back memories. And right now, currently, they have yeah, that was always cheat. I know. They have Mario Kart for now for iPhone and Android. They just came out with it recently. There's a lot more characters in that one. All right, so it's called Lukey Games. I gotta put that. Only thing I hate about the website, the big games like Street Fighter, Mario Kart, they sell for a higher price. It's because a lot of people like those games, man. That's what it is. They like those games. Those games are like classics for them. Champ Ross says, I bought mine last year. Tomoko says, baseball joke time. Which baseball player makes flapjacks? The batter. Their games are very cheap. Nice. Are the consoles cheap too? And Ryan says Zelda was my boyfriend's favorite. Sorry, excuse me. I meant to say BF's. Sorry, best friend. My apologies. That came out wrong. My bad. I apologize for that. I meant to say best friend's game in N64. I feel you. Yeah, Zelda was cool. I used to play a lot of Super Smash Brothers, and I actually would use Zelda in Super Smash on Nintendo 64. Star Fox was on there. Pikachu was on there. So they had all these many different characters. I remember they had Captain Falcon. It was, like I said, man, those are those nostalgic times as a kid, The consoles are like $80 to $100. Word? Yo, I could get myself like 2 or 3 consoles with that. Oh, that's dope. That's fire. Nice. That's a bad joke that made me laugh, though. I know. That's all I was like. I'm like, it's bad, but I still laugh. Why? That was one of that. It was bad and good at the same time. Like, it's crazy how you could think that a joke can be good and bad at the same time. But shout out to Champ Ross with that. Lukey Games, I definitely got to check that out. Yeah, it wasn't mine though. I got it off the internet. You know, as it is, you know, with internet jokes, you know, as it is. Um, you know, I appreciate it. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna end the stream. Make sure you guys pull up back again tonight at 9 o'clock for the Last Dance documentary, parts 5 and 6 with Kobe Bryant, and the Dream Team. Wow, Lewis, misreading, making me look bad. Yeah. No, that was my fault, bro. I didn't mean that, man. If you're a gamer, I highly recommend checking out Lukey Games. You will be amazed and bring back memories at the same time. I'm gonna check it out, Champ Ross. I appreciate you putting that for me, man. I appreciate it, man. Hopefully, if you guys know that anybody who are a fan of baseball, my coworker knows at least 500 dads. Jokes off the top of his jet. Uh, Jokes off the top of his head. Damn, that's a lot of jokes, but that's good though. That means it'll keep you entertained and keep you laughing. But shout out to Champ Ross, man, for coming up with those game consoles and you know, that website with Luka Games. I'm gonna definitely check that out. So I appreciate it. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you guys come back for 9 o'clock for, I forgot another one, Jax as a Samoan. One Jax. That's another good one. Um, so yeah, make sure to come back for the Last Dance documentary at 9 o'clock. Make sure that you're there. Definitely, you definitely pull up for that one. You know, we got Kobe and we got the Dream Team, and I got a couple of videos coming up. Obviously, coming up for the week. We're gonna talk about Kobe's 2006 and why that season was underrated. We're going to talk about Shaq being carried by Kobe. We're going to talk about why the Golden State Warriors, in my personal opinion, is the weirdest dynasty in the modern era. People have been saying that they're the greatest, but I feel like that it's a little bit weird when you consider their 5-year run from 2015 to 2019. It's a very strange one. So I got to break down a lot of context when it comes to the Warriors dynasty, winning 3 rings in 5 years, and obviously they had a chance to go back to back. No, Kobe is parts 5 and 6. I believe he's going to be part 5 because today will be parts 5 and 6. I heard that some of it is already put up. I think up to part 8, but I think it's on Netflix. But it's like I don't want to ruin the anticipation. I'd rather hear the reaction, and then wait for the next weeks. It just takes it away if you want to watch everything at once. You may want to watch it again, but it's like, oh, you already know what's going to happen. So I'd rather get the anticipation of watching the documentary. So if we go and take a look at right here, let me just go back to my stream here real quick, checking this out. We have, let me just check real quick. We have, so we got Shaq carry Kobe. That's going to be on May 5th on Wednesday. We have, no, Tuesday, sorry, at 4. We have Golden State Warriors are great. That's also going to be at 6. I might change the times. We got Kobe's 06 season. We got Isaiah Thomas going up against Stephen Curry. That's tomorrow on May 4th. And Kobe's 06 season will be at 8:30. So make sure you guys pull up for that. We got The Last Dance tonight. And then we have Alex Cora being suspended for the 2020 season. And then we talk about the Houston Nationals controversy. That'll be on May 6th. That's Chris Paul's birthday. So happy 35th birthday, CP3. Early birthday. So make sure you guys pull up for that one. And I'll be coming up with some more videos the more I look into this stuff. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, so check that stuff out. You guys will like it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Lewis with another one. Thank you, everybody, for coming through this baseball stream. I got more baseball content coming up real soon, and I appreciate Freddie Gee calling me Mr. Versatile because that is what I'm about when it comes to versatility with this network. Have a blessed afternoon, everybody. I will see you all tonight. I will definitely check out your channel after Tomoko. And ladies and gentlemen, as we always do here on the Lewis Sports Network, man, there's a Cash App. If you have Cash App, there it is on the ticker. But as always, bless up, live, laugh, love. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful afternoon. And I will see you guys back again at 9 o'clock tonight, going live for the documentary. See you later. And hopefully, man, you guys are all waiting for it because we're going to have a lot of fun. All right. So I'm going to find out. I'm going to look at Luka Games. Shout out to Champ Ross, Freddie Gee, Ryan Newsom, Joel Hayward, Sly Zulu, Tomoko. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll be back for the documentary.